okay other than that?
Yeah, everything's great. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Jet Live. Had a little technical difficulties with my camera, so I'm in the bedroom. My daughter's going to sleep, so I'm going to try to be as quiet as possible. So thanks for joining us, Bryan. It's awesome that you're with us here. Um, but
Thank you
as
for
always,
having me.
basically technical difficulties. That's what happens in theater sometimes, right? I mean, we know so
Yeah,
much about that right now with
yeah, we.
COVID. Um, so, Bryan, how you doing? Love your background, by the way,
Uh,
Matrix. Very, very cool.
my parents know my taste, and they get me stuff like this whenever they can. Whenever they used to visit the states, so my mom had a lot of these posters laminated, and there are about 5 of them all around my room.
Awesome. All Matrix or different movies?
No, this is Matrix is behind me. To my right is Spider-Man. Then near my door, I have Lord of the Rings, Return of the King, and Rocky Balboa. And then in my bathroom, I have one of the Star Wars movies.
Cool. Rocky Balboa.
Yeah.
So he's one of your favorites.
Uh, I would say that I like his movies. Yeah, I don't watch them consistently, but yeah, he's one of my favorites.
He is an awesome story. Do you know about
Yeah.
his story? Yeah, that's awesome. You have an awesome story. Um, since uh, Shlomit's here, what's your favorite poster from all of them? Which one?
What's my favorite poster from all of them? Oy, that's tough to decide. Um, I don't really like to pick favorites unless they're hanging up on my wall. But if I had to choose, I guess I would have to say no. I can't choose because it's basically a four-way tie between the that are in my room.
That's awesome. They all have a each one of those movies. They're iconic. They're wonderful. And the people behind them also are just there's so much inspiration you can get from every single one of them, the people that created these stories. So that's so cool that you have them in your room. You're able to see that because you're amazing. Like just the number of shows you've been in at Beit Hillel, you're a regular there. Um, and what I find so cool is that even like we talked about this recently, even when there isn't exactly a role for you, there's a role for you. You know, you really you give your all for Beit Hillel and for Michael Burl and the dedication you have for the craft also and being part of theater and creativity in general. I know we've had our few conversations over the past few months. Um, I'm inspired by you. Well, I would love to hear a little bit about your process about what you've worked on a few things over the past few months. You've had a couple of stories that you've written and posted. So what brought that about?
Well, the whole situation that we seem to be finding ourselves in brought out a lot of that. I am good with writing. I've just never really touched the realm of poetry before. And a lot of what I was doing was inspired by what I was going through and what I felt like the rest of the world was going through. And I just felt a need to really voice my feelings, my thoughts, my opinions, and I wanted people to see that. I mean, That's how I look at Facebook. I don't necessarily look at it as a platform for just putting up pictures of myself. I look at it as a way to with other people, and that's also how I view theater as well, as a way to tell a story and connect with the person that is sitting in front of me. And I was very apprehensive about even starting working with a theater workshop back in 2004, basically because I didn't know how seriously I would be taken. I didn't know Michael yet, and I didn't want to feel like I would be making a who was studying here for the year, and he knew from I had met this guy back in the summer of 2000 when I was at a summer camp in Wisconsin, and he knew I was very good on the stage and that I love to perform, and so he suggested it, and he said, "We'll do it together. You know, it'll be fun." And so I thought, okay, if he's there, I'll go ahead and do it. And I walked into the theater and I met Michael, and the rest, as they say, is history.
And you've been saying the Divrei Torah. Also, I know Michael. It's one of the main things that's different. There's a bunch of things that are different from all the different theater communities that we have in Jerusalem. But one of the big things is there's always that Divrei Torah at the beginning. And how many years have you been doing that? Also, I find that
Well,
so cool.
well, from what I understand, it stopped for a while, and then we picked it back up again when we did Blood Brothers back in, I think it was '07. And I was chosen to do that one. I was chosen to do that Vartor. The video went out of sync.
Yeah,
Went out of sync for a second there. I wasn't sure if we disappeared or something.
you're still here, but you could continue from where you left off.
He asked he asked other people to do it for a few years, and then I picked it up again for a few shows after that. And 5 or 6 altogether that I've done the Dvar Torah. But I'm glad that it means something to people. I'm glad that, people find it interesting, right before we get the show started. And it is something that makes Beit Hillel shows unique. And it's something that I think anybody who comes to see the shows, regardless of what religion they are, they find it interesting. And I'm glad that they find it interesting. I'm glad that I'm able to, not put them to sleep or anything with any of my words or anything. But yeah, I don't know. I don't remember exactly what the question is, but it's something that, I like doing.
I was just commenting about it, but I found it. Facebook is used to connect to people, and I find that the Dvar Torah is a way to connect the theater and what we're about to show, to connect even stronger with people who are coming to see it. And you writing the stories that you wrote to kind of connect our situation today that we're dealing with and the feelings that you've had with other people is also it's all in the same kind of boat, I would say. I'm going to do this because I love it. I'm going to show you the question right here. You could look at the bottom. You could see what Shlomit asked. And then she also asked if you wrote the Dvar Torah as well, like the ones that were said.
No, I don't write the Dvar Torah, but I do check on Michael's grammar and spelling and punctuation and all of that.
That's always important too. Ask my wife.
I even gave him one. One year, I even gave him a Scrabble dictionary so that he could keep up with some of the words that I used to describe him in rehearsals.
Oh, that must be fun. Learning words during
Yeah.
rehearsals. So before 2004, did you did you do theater? And what was your first show?
Um, if you're asking what my first show with Michael was, it was Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat, and I was Potiphar.
Hmm.
And
Well,
and Natalie Portman was studying at the university for a semester, and she came to see the show. And she comes up to me in the lobby afterwards and says, "You were brilliant." And all I could say was, "You're Natalie Portman." She goes, "Yes, I'm Natalie Portman."
wow, that's awesome. You had some you I've spoke to Michael about this, but there's been always that he always tries to make a connection to one of the stars of a show that was done on Broadway or wherever, and or a creator, and he reads out a letter before the show, what they wrote back, and
Yeah,
this past year you had the not the fiddler, you had Tevye come, so that was that must have been really amazing as well. Um,
it was
what
very
was
amazing. I just didn't get much of a chance to really talk to him. I saw him, I told him what my name was, and then we took a cast photo with him.
but at least but did you say more than you are? I can't remember his name now. um, did
Couple,
you just say his
flying
name?
couple.
Right, Tuple, right. So did you use more than just his name, right? So it's been
Yeah, I mean, I didn't get to say a whole lot to him other than just telling him what my name was, but I didn't say you're Chaim
Mhm.
Topol. Everybody knew it was Chaim Topol.
So did you do theater before you joined the Beit Hillel workshop?
In the most amateur sense imaginable, yes. I did grade school plays. We had a theater program at the school that I was attending in the States. And I think I was the narrator for Mary Poppins and one of the
Hmm.
grandparents for Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
No way,
And
me too.
really,
Yeah, I was Grandpa Joe in a summer in the Golden Ticket song. I have a golden ticket. Yeah,
I wish I could.
I almost
I wish I could have done that. I was one of the other grandparents.
I almost tripped over them during the dance sequence. It was like a bench. They were all lying on a bench as if it was a bed, and I almost fell off the crack. Good times. Love it.
Yeah.
Charlie,
But other than that, yeah,
has Michael done,
Charlie. Sorry.
has Michael done Charlie?
No, but I wish he would. I'm
Hmm.
just sure that he'll say like the costume and makeup budgets and the visual effects would be, through the roof.
Hmm. Well, you would be a great Grandpa Joe.
Well, I
That'd be
think I
fun.
would be either a good Grandpa Joe or a good Willy Wonka because Willy Wonka is a role that I can really identify with.
Yeah, Willy Wonka for sure, for sure. Well, we've had some of these Jet Lives. We've talked about shows that we want some people to produce. So now it's out there. So Michael Burrell, maybe for next year. Um, it could be that the rights are just not available. Who knows? Daniel has a question here.
If you could take any movie and turn it into a musical, which one would it be and why? Well, first, let me finish the answer to the previous question. I would do
Sure.
talent shows, and I worked behind the scenes on a couple of theatrical productions that were put on by AACI and Jest, the former theater company Jest. And I learned a little bit about what goes on behind the scenes. But as far as like, serious stuff on the stage, it didn't really start until I met Michael.
And what was your first show
Um,
before Joseph with Michael?
my first show before Joseph, probably I think I was in second grade, and it was just a collection of like, I don't know, winter dances and winter scenes, and just stuff that wouldn't be familiar to anybody.
Yeah, I still remember my second grade show that I was in. I was the star. I was the and I played I played this like what was it, a yeshiva bacher that his house was, and he was getting married, and then his house was robbed or something like that. It was a famous story at the time, whatever. And the girl that was playing my wife was actually the girl I had a crush on. So I still remember second grade. That's my first play or something like that. It was very interesting. But yeah, second grade. Good times. So should we make it easier for you? Out of those 4 posters in your room, which one would you turn into a musical? And by the way, Rocky was turned into a musical. I saw it. It was pretty good.
There are a lot of movies that are being translated into musicals. I mean, listen, during this whole period, I heard that Back to the Future was being turned into a musical, or it has been turned into a musical. And it's amazing that at least the 2 primary songs from the movie are being kept for the stage show, which is Power of Love and Back in Time. And I think their covers of it were truly amazing. I think they attempted a Spider-Man musical, but it really did not do well at all. I don't remember exactly what happened. But for some reason, superheroes... What?
A lot of it had to do with insurance. It was very expensive to have people swinging across the stage, and there were a lot of accidents. And yeah, from what I understand.
Well, I also think that for some reason the genre of superheroes and the genre of musicals just don't really fit together for some reason. It would be kind of ridiculous if, for example, you did something like that with Batman. I mean, people would basically say it's a disaster.
Did you ever see Star Kid Productions?
Did I ever see what?
There's a YouTube channel, Star Kid Productions. They made a Harry Potter musical called The Harry Potter Musical, and they actually have a superhero musical with Batman. I believe we lost Bryan for a second. Hopefully he'll be back soon. If anybody has any questions, they can write in the comments. Thank you all for watching. See, we got a lot of people watching. That's awesome. So glad that there's so many people out there. Holy Musical Batman. Yes, Asher, exactly. Some people out there watching, and he's exited. Hopefully he'll come back in. There is some issues with his with internet. Sometimes I have my thing. Then come back in. Not sure when are you going to do not putting any pressure, but we'd love to have you on Jet Live as well. Here he is. Here he is. Okay. Just gonna wait for him to come back on. He's in the green room backstage. Very theater oriented. Let's try to work this out. Let's see if this works.
Hello?
Hey, you're back. Can you hear me? Again.
Okay, I'm having there are
Oh, there you go.
problems with the internet on my end, I think. So I think, can you hear me?
Yeah, I could hear you. Let's see, maybe if you can, is there, I don't know if this has it here. If you could turn off your video, but still, we could still hear you. Maybe that might work better.
I don't know. I just know that I think it has to do with my internet connection. There's a lot of networks around me, so there's a chance the internet itself might just cut out.
Right. Okay, well, you're back on right now. And Asher Halperin is told me it's Holy Musical Batman is the musical. So if you look up Star Kid Productions, you'll find there's a they have a Star Wars sort of musical kind of thing. I think it's called Annie, A-N-I, not Annie like the musical we were in together. And yeah, but what would your movie be? I think that was the question we were asking.
What would my That's a very good question. I mean, I think it would be cool to see something like Lord of the Rings done that way. I think it would be cool to see something, if they could pull it off, see the Avengers done that way, if they could pull it off like in a serious way. I just think that there are certain movies that if you turn it into a musical, people will not take it seriously.
So actually, Star Kid Productions doesn't take it seriously, and it works so well.
Really?
Holy Musical Batman. Yeah, Holy Musical Batman. The villain does he pulls out these candy bars all the time, and he uses words like he's like whatchamacallit, and then he has a whatchamacallit in his hand, or if it was in Hebrew, we'd be like Pesachon, and then like time would stop or something like that. He uses these candies as like superpowers or something like that. I haven't seen it in a really long time. They're all parodies basically, so they're like making fun, but the Batman voice is so good. It's like,
yeah,
oh, I'm Batman. I can't do it, but that's what they're so brilliant.
There's this group that I found on YouTube called Miracle of Sound, and they write original songs for superhero movies, not to be featured in superhero movies, but it's as if, if you were to turn superhero movie into a musical, you would hear this song. And there's one that they do with the Joker that just is so accurate and so spot on that if they ever really did make a serious Batman musical, I could see the Joker really singing this song.
I tried. Just kidding. Here's a question from Ian Cohen.
I know him. What was your favorite role in all the shows you have appeared in, and why? Ooh. I liked Thénardier in Les Mis because there was such a freedom to it. I got to dance, do my own dancing, and sing this song and just be absolutely gross and disgusting and not feel like people were, backing away in revulsion or anything. They actually were encouraging, the fact that I was being so disgusting in that role.
I I loved you in that role. I think it was the first show I saw at Beit Hillel, Les
Hmm.
Miserables. I would love to do Les Miserables. I know it was like a whole fiasco what had happened with it, whatever. But maybe Michael will get a chance to do it again. Who knows? Or somebody else. But you were amazing in it, and I loved when you guys came onto like the. I think I was sitting in the second row, and or I don't even know, but you came off of the stage you were dancing in front of everybody. Oh, it was so good. You were so good in that. And
Thank you.
yeah, so much freedom with that, especially the end scene. The end scene is just so much fun, I'm sure.
Yeah. And I also liked playing Cogsworth in Beauty and the Beast because I felt like it gave me a chance to really channel my inner Monty Python, my inner John Cleese for that role. Because I don't know how many people know this, but John Cleese was actually the inspiration for the role of Cogsworth when they made the movie back in 1991. So I felt like I was
Oh,
really doing him justice. And it just it felt like it was a chance to channel a different kind of comedy in the sense that you're being absolutely serious in everything that you say and do, and yet it still comes off as comical. It still comes off as funny, and there is something very very amusing and very fun about that whole thing. And I loved working with Tzachi Goldstein as far as Lumiere is concerned. I loved working with Miriam
mhm.
Wartsky as Mrs. Potts, Lucy Jennings as Plumette, I believe her name was. And basically, I had a good time with everybody. It was the second time I had done that show, but I played Cogsworth the second time around. And I gotta say, I had a lot of fun with that role, just as much fun as I did with Thénardier. And I think, if I had to say what roles I had the most fun with, it would probably be Thénardier, Cogsworth, um, Fagin from Oliver, Alfie Doolittle from My Fair Lady, and, well, for obvious reasons, Punjab from Annie because of the song that I threw in there. And Michael was so amused by, he said, "Okay, we're keeping that song."
Yeah, he does that. I love the names you threw out there. Tzachi and Miriam. She's also a pretty big mainstay in the Beta Hillel stage.
Oh
Um,
yeah, she's a huge talent.
yeah, wish we could see her in other companies, but it's hard. It's a hard enough to get here for Michael's shows.
Well,
um,
I'm honored anytime I get to share the stage with her or anytime I get to work with her in a theatrical production.
yeah, yeah, totally. Um, so you also do other creative things. And not when you're not on the stage. You make candles, you do magic tricks. I saw a few of you already, and you write as we've talked about. Can you do? Have
Yeah,
you ever tried to do a magic trick virtually?
I haven't. I actually did think of one that I could do virtually. I could do it for you. I just need you to either get. This is something that I can either do with a deck of cards or with a couple of coins. You would need like a 1 shekel coin and a 10 shekel coin. And if you can't find that, you would need either an ace or a 10 from a deck of cards. But yes, I
Smart
could
hard.
probably do it. I could probably
Smart
do it
hard.
virtually.
That you were amazing as Punjab. I remember that. You did it also. I have two fives and I have a shekel.
Okay, so pretend that the two fives are a 10 shekel coin.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then you have the 1 shekel coin.
Mm-hmm.
Now I want you to put the two fives in one hand and the 1 shekel coin in the other.
Okay.
See your hands, so it's okay. So it's okay. I don't really know what's going to happen.
Okay.
How good are your math skills?
My math skills? I'm
Yes,
working
doing
on them.
math in your head.
I'm working on them.
Okay. Okay. Now, I want you to multiply the value of the coin. Now remember, we're pretending that the two fives are a 10.
Yeah.
I want you to multiply the value of the coin in your right hand by either, let's see if I can remember this. I want you to multiply the value of the coin in your right hand by either 3 or 5 or 7. Not all three of them, just one of those numbers.
Okay.
And now I want you to multiply the value of the coin in your left hand by either 4 or 6 or 8.
Okay.
You've got the two numbers.
Yep.
Add the two numbers together.
Mm-hmm.
What's the total?
I'm supposed to tell you, or you're supposed to guess?
Yes. You're supposed to tell me the total.
Okay. If I got my math right, I'm working on it because, got to teach Leah Rose math at some point. 76.
76. 76. Okay, I'm guessing then that the 1 shekel coin is in your right hand and the 10 shekel coin is in your left. Am I right?
If we're talking about stage right and stage left, then yeah, no, no, it's the opposite. If I did my math correctly.
Okay, that's one that I have to work on.
Okay. Vandergelder. Here. Gabby.
But yes, I'm working on magic tricks slowly but surely. I like cards because there's something very cool about handling a deck of cards.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
it is.
You came to the gallery when I was doing an exhibition, so you saw the deck of cards that I had designed.
They closed. Yeah, they were open for 15 years, and because of Corona, they just closed. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, that doesn't completely surprise me because a lot of places have had to close down because of the Corona.
Yeah, so because they were part of Barkaima, which CBDB Productions and Theater in the Rough, Starcatcher was until they joined the incubator, and Ben Bard Players, all are part of the Barkaima, and so was the Barber, if I'm pronouncing it right, Gallery, and so they informed us that they closed, and after 15 years. So. Right. But you're still going. But it's almost 16 years you've been doing theater, and hopefully you're gonna continue in the next show which is Aida, by the way. Everybody, Michael Burrell, Beit Hillel Theater Workshop announced that they are going to be doing Aida in December, we hope, and auditions are September. So Bryan, you were saying you designed cards.
Yeah.
Do you have any with you that you want to show?
Yeah, if you'll give me just 1 second, I'll pull them out of the box that they're in.
Cool. We got a few minutes, so.
Okay, hang on.
He comes with the cards. Thank you, Shlomit.
So the back is courtesy of Google. I just searched this image on Google, and that's what I decided to use. And then this one is one that I drew. I drew the images with a partner of mine, an art partner of mine in Bezalel. She drew some of the images, and I drew some of the images. And this one I am very proud of.
Nice.
I am very proud of that image. But yes, I can show you. I can show you, like, for example, this one I drew.
Nice.
That's one of the Jokers.
Nice.
And let me show you one other that I drew. I'm a big fan of the music of Green Day.
Mm. That's beautiful. I think I saw all of these at the gallery. I remember.
Mm-hmm.
Good day.
So I drew some, and my art partner drew some.
So was that King? Was that John Travolta, or was that Rocky? Because I saw "We Are the Champions" on the bottom.
That was Freddie Mercury.
There we go, Freddie Mercury. Doobie, you got it. Doobie, Freddie Mercury. American Idiot. Do you know that musical?
I've heard of it. I've never had a chance to actually see it.
There we go. Another one that should be put in the books of musicals that we want to do in theater here. Daniel Lewin just said American Idiot one day.
Yeah.
So Doobie has a question here, and I think this will be the last question for tonight. Bryan, it's been so wonderful to have you. It's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for joining Jet Live. So here, this is from Doobie.
Which character did you identify with most, and why?
A little bit different from the other one, which is your favorite.
Yeah.
But we'll see. You might answer the same character.
I think I identify with different qualities in all of the different characters that I've played. I mean, for example, I enjoy the fact that Thénardier gets to be so free and just, relish in who he is and just sing about it. I enjoyed the fact that Fagin is so charismatic and charming, even though he's, like Thénardier, he's from the dregs of society, basically. I like the fact that Alfie Doolittle, takes so much pleasure from life and just sings and dances and has a good time with his friends. I like the fact that Cogsworth, is so he cares so much about order, and he cares so much about the rules and everything, but at the same time he understands that people need to have fun. And I like Punjab for being able to be so serious and yet at the same time show that he has a vast amount of knowledge that nobody else could ever know about. And like Jean-Michel, Jean-Michel from Cinderella, is someone that really wants to speak his mind and, really stand up for himself, but he doesn't necessarily know how, and he needs to find his voice. And that's something that I can really identify with. I'm someone that basically wants to say, I have a voice. That's why that's part of the reason why I'm doing the theater. I have a voice. I have an opinion. I want to be taken seriously within the context of the roles that I play. And I want to connect with other people, male and female, any age. And I just really want to feel that connection again. And I'm sure I'm not the only one who is just really tired of this whole situation, even though we're trying to make the most of it, and just wants to feel like he can get hugs and handshakes and that sort of thing again from people.
Wow, you've basically like taken so many of these great roles that you've been able to do on stage, and in just a sentence say how you identify with each of them. That's amazing. That's like something that like I look at all the roles that I did, and I don't know if I could do something like that, but you really identify with so many of them, and that's such a powerful thing, really. I keep on seeing this. I don't know if you mentioned Vandergelder. Did you mention Vandergelder? Because
I didn't.
Gabby keeps mentioning it, and I don't. I actually, sorry, I don't know which musical it's from.
That was the first musical I did with Gabby Shine Markowitz. It was Hello Dolly, and I played Horace Vandergelder.
I thought it was Guys and Dolls for a second, but like I was sure I was wrong. Hello Dolly.
It was fun. It was a fun role to play in the sense that who I got to work off of. You know, I got to work off of Gabby. I got to work off of Doobie. I got to work off of Lucy Jennings. I got to work off of Nahum Hackett. I got to work off of Aryeh Kaufman and Eleanor Kaufman. You know, there was something fun about playing this role that I identify so much with Richard Nixon because of how chauvinistic he is. And but for me, the real joy of doing that role was in the people that I got to work with in that show.
It's amazing. It's amazing. That's the joy of theater, and what we do in our community is the people that we get to work with. And a lot of people talk about the process of the rehearsals and working in that, like just getting to the point of the show. That's so amazing. And those also, all of those people are amazing people and great talent, and it's wonderful to see them on stage. And you're amazing. And I thank you again so much for joining Jet Live. Tomorrow we're going to have Doobie Harvey. I think you know him. He's done set design for Beit Hillel for many years now, as well as been on stage in a bunch of shows, to the point where one time at Beit Hillel he almost forgot a cue because he was dealing with the set and whatever. Maybe he'll talk about that tomorrow. He did talk about it in the set designer interview that we have posted on the jetcommunity.org website. And Shlomit Kowalski will be joining me tomorrow. She's been asking a lot of the questions on the comments, but she's going to be in the streams for now on. And we've got more people joining Jet Live in the next few weeks. And I hope that people who haven't been on Jet Live would be able to join, like Asher Halperin. And Bryan, thank you again so much for doing this, for being on Jet Live. I'm so honored to have been on stage with you.
Thank you.
And it's been a pleasure also during this time to see what you've been creating, and the stories that you've sent. And they're on your page also, right? You've shared them on your page, the stories?
If you mean the poems that I've written, yes,
yeah,
I've shared
the poems.
I've shared them on Facebook for everybody to see.
Right.
And you know, they're also in my blog, which is still, you know, going through changes and stuff. But the blog is basically just the backup of all of the work that I've done over the years. And yes, the poems are there, and they're on Facebook. And
you
to
have
close,
a blog now, right?
What?
You have a blog page also, right?
Yeah. And to close, I've got an idea for a fifth poem. I will only reveal the title at the moment. I'm thinking of calling it The Touch.
Well, I'm looking forward, and if anybody wants to see the poetry that Bryan has been creating during this time, you could go to his Facebook page. He also has a blog page now that he's putting together a website where all his work, his artistic work, that he's drawn, and his writings, and also I think there's photos from theater as well on there. Am I right? Yeah.
Yes,
So,
about 120 different pictures from the various shows that I've done.
what is the? We'll end on this, but what is the website? How can we?
Um, I'll post it again on Facebook, but the domain site is called The Real Life of Bryan. But for those of you who are Monty Python fans, and the blog itself is called The Dreamer's Workshop.
If I type www.thereallifeofbryan.com,
Wix. Yeah, I posted it somewhere on. I posted it somewhere on Facebook, but yeah, look it up.
We've got it. Ian Cohen, thank you so much. Here it is, right here.
Yeah.
Okay. So if anybody wants to see Bryan's work, it's right here at the real life of Bryan.wixsite.com/website. Thank you, Ian.
Thank you, Ian. I really appreciate it.
And Bryan, hopefully I'll see you again soon in the real world. And it was so wonderful again to have you here. And we'll see you next time, Jet Live. Bye, everybody. Thank you.
Bye. Happy birthday to your daughter and to your wife.
Thank you.
All right.